Hi, Oboe friends. I am Senior Airman Chelsea Russell, and I'm sitting here in my bedroom at my reed desk. And I wanted to take a minute to talk to you about how to make your own reeds and why that's so important. Let's start with the why. Why is it so important to make your own reeds when you could just buy them from a store? Well, first of all, making reeds is like having a special superpower. It makes your oboe playing so much better, and you have this secret skill that not everyone has. Making your own reeds enables you to have more reliable and consistent reeds. Have you bought those reeds from the store that were just impossibly flat? Well, they were probably made by some more bigger machines, and there wasn't as much care taken by one person who crafted them especially for you. It was probably like an assembly line sort of situation. If you can make your own reeds, you can make them to suit your specific needs. Each oboist has slightly different muscles composing their embouchure, and maybe even slightly different bone structure, or a different way that they play the oboe, their airstream, and stuff like that. So when you can make your own reeds, you can make them just the way that feels right to you. Also, store-bought reeds are really expensive, and you don't get a great quality. So it's really powerful when you can learn how to make your own reeds. I recommend you start as soon as you can. So let's just go through the basics of what goes into making your own reed from start to finish. If you've never seen a piece of cane before, it looks a lot like a small, skinny piece of bamboo. I don't have one with me today, but I'll show you what it looks like when you cut it down and get it thin enough to start making a reed. You take that tube that looks like bamboo and you put it through a machine called a gouging machine. You run it through this machine and the blade cuts out the inside of the tube and makes it really thin. Really thin piece of cane that's ready to go on the shaper. So next I will show you a shaper. It's the handle and the shaper tip. These tips come in all different varieties and slight variations. So once you've gotten your piece of cane thin enough, you fold it over the shaper tip, and you take a razor blade and you start slicing it on either side until you get a shaped piece of cane. You see the difference between a shaped piece and just the gouged piece? So after you've shaped your cane, then you want to wrap it on a staple or a tube. It's either called a staple or a tube. While you do that, you put your tube on a mandrel. This is called a mandrel. So you take your piece of cane, and I'm just showing you the general thing. If you were actually doing it, you would use a ruler and get the measurements a lot more precise. But I'm just showing you the basics. So you've got your mandrel, which is holding your tube, and then your piece of cane on top of that, which you're gonna wrap it onto the tube with some hopefully beautiful and colorful thread. I love thread that is pretty and multicolor. This one is called Sprout, and it's nice and springy. It's what I'm using this week. So you get it wrapped on, and then comes the important, well, they're all important parts, but next comes the scraping. The most important thing for a successful reed is to have a really, really sharp knife. To keep your knife sharp, you could have a variety of different sharpening tools, but one of the most basic ones is having a stone, just a sharpening stone. This is an India stone. You can see that I've used it by all the little metal shavings that have come off and are now discoloring my stone. But that's okay, you can clean that off. So once you get your basic reed blank, then you go through a series of scrapes. You scrape it open until it vibrates easily and is up to pitch, and you can play on it. And that is the basics of making a reed. I've heard it said that it takes 1,000 reeds making 1,000 reeds to get really good at reed making. So I hope that this little video has inspired you to start learning how to make your own reeds.